Cheers, good morning, good afternoon. You ready to do some scale practicing with me today? Don't forget to do this if you are enjoying the live streams. I appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about choosing scales for the classic The Girl from Ipanema, all-time favorite bossa nova song. Hands down, probably the most popular song in that style. It's a beautiful song. You all know it. Um, it's a challenging song. I don't know if many of you have tried improvising on it, but I'm always listening to players solo on it, and I'll hear even really great players kind of flail a little bit on the B section as if it's me too included. I'm not saying that that's easy in any way. So, but it's a challenging song. So I'm going to talk about some scales today. Darvin, welcome. Good to see you. I'm excited for our lesson next week. I think we might have done a little bit of Girl from Ipanema practicing already. I do have a lot of lessons on Patreon, by the way. I always say that I've got tons of lessons, everybody knows. About 5,000 plus lessons on Patreon. That includes videos, bonus videos, PDFs, tabs, etudes. And I focus a lot on arpeggios for The Girl from Ipanema. And I do have like an advanced soloing concept with some pentatonics and stuff too. Today's going to be a very basic lesson on how to choose scales, and I'm going to go to kind of the most important scales, the modes. um, I love the whole tone scale, so I'm going to talk about how to choose the whole tone scale and maybe some melodic minor and harmonic minor as well. Again, these are the common scales to use. We're not going to use any other particular scales for that besides that topic for today. That you could superimpose pentatonics, you can do bebop scales, you could do other diminished scales and stuff too, but I will keep it a little bit more one-on-one today, if you know what I'm saying. Thanks again. um oh man, Darwin says, I think somehow all Joe Beam songs are harder to solo on. Not sure why. They are very challenging. They are very challenging. He was brilliant at coming up with some really unique chord progressions that switch keys, that have very subtle voice leading. Again, I have a lot of lessons, whether it's Corcovado, How Insensitive, Meditation, the really popular ones. Dreamer was one of my favorites. Got a lot of Triste. I've got lessons on all these songs on Patreon. So please check them out. But again, today we're going to talk The Girl from Ipanema. So we're going to stay in the standard key. The standard key is a key of F. Okay. Let's talk about the chord progression. F major 7. And I do have my electric guitar as well in case I need to do some looping. This is not plugged in. So the G7, I'm playing G13. Joel's at the gym listening. That's great. G minor 7. And then some books will show C7 and then F major 7, but usually the choice chord for that, let's see, it would be measure 6 on right before the resolution, measure 7, and then measure 8. This is an 8-bar pattern, is back to that G flat 7 with the flat 5. So here are the chords for the first 8 bars, and really strip down, then I'll fancy it up just a little bit for you. F major 7, you got to know the chords if you're going to be soloing. G7, G minor 7, G flat 7, flat 5, and that's the one that's a little bit fancier. And then that's the turnaround. F major 7, G7, I like to play 13, G minor 7, you can do minor 9, G flat 7, and again, that's tritone substitution that Joe Beam is using built into his composition. The 5 chord of key of F, if F is the 1 chord, is C7, but if you put tritone, the C 3 whole tones below or above, it doesn't matter, it's symmetrical because the chromatic scale's 12 semitones, so 3 whole tones above or below is going to be the same note. This C, G flat, you call it F sharp if you want, doesn't matter to me. And the scale of choice, I'll just give you a hint already, or tell you, is whole tone. Very dreamy, very dreamy. The tritone stuff, that's a great scale to use. So we'll talk about that in a second. I'll pop up my sound slice that I've already began with a private student this week at the diamond tier level on Patreon. Those are all filled up right now. Sorry if you want a private lesson with me on the diamond tier, but you can have a lesson with me if you want separately from Patreon. You just have to send me an email. So we're going to talk the basic scales, and this I'm thinking outside of the box just a little bit here. I'm going to show you some demonstrations and some considerations on why and the sounds, and demonstrate again. It's important, this is just shop talk, but you got to be able to do it. I was talking about this yesterday. Sure, it's nice to be able to talk, but if you can't do it, if you don't know your scales on the fretboard, that's what you got to spend time learning. So download that master scale syllabus. It's for free. It's in the description. It's a number one. If you go to my description on this link here, that it says master scales, and it's just all the scales starting on the root note of G. So I'm not going to go through them all, but it goes through G Ionian, G Dorian, G Phrygian, G Lydian, G Mixolydian, G Aeolian, G Locrian, G harmonic minor, G melodic minor, G major pentatonic, G minor pentatonic, G major blues, G minor blues, G whole tone, everything. G in the half whole diminished. It's all there on the root of G. Those are all the basic and the most important scales to be able to start on the root note. Okay. And I hope you watched that modes lesson I did maybe 2 weeks ago as a live stream, how I like to think about the modes, using all 7 of them basically as position markers, so that I know where I'm at any time, and I can play to the key. Songs like All the Things You Are is a really great tune for practice, that where you have to modulate, and switch 5 keys, and you can stay in one position. Tunes like I like How High the Moon. I have a good lesson on that one where I'm demonstrating that. John Coltrane's Giant Steps, The Girl from Ipanema. I am not sure what you're talking about. I'm sorry, Paduk. Patik. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Um, so again, I'm just going to go ahead and talk. I'm going to load up the sound slice in a second. I just wanted to give you the first 8 bars of the chord progression. I'm going to do that again. This is a basic fake book version of it. Okay, the lead sheet that you'd find in the real book. F major 7, G7. I'm playing G13. It's all in the same family. It's okay. G minor 7. I'm going to play G minor 9. Sometimes I like G minor 11. And then G flat 7, flat 5. And then F major 7. And then back to the turnaround G flat 7, flat 5. 1, 2, with me, go. That was wrong. 9. Again. G7, 13. Minor. Tritone sound there. And again. And now we're going to talk about scales. Oh, tremor, shaking. That's a good question. I really can't answer that except relax. I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna give me trouble. I drink coffee. Coffee doesn't make you relax. Wine, breathe, learn your scales, learn the vocabulary. Keep it simple. Those are all things that can help with nerves. Be confident. I like to, and I'm just going to say this now because I already have a lesson on it, and you can check it out on YouTube and Patreon, of course. But I also like the pentatonic method. So I have to say this, even though I'm talking modes like Ionian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian, those are your 3 majors and your 3 minor modes. Each one of those 3 respective modes, the majors, the 3 majors and 3 minors, they can be stripped down to the pentatonic, meaning this: G Ionian, G Lydian, G Mixolydian, they all share the major pentatonic scale, G major penta, which is also E minor penta. It's all just very important stuff to know. And then the minors as well. So G minor Dorian, G minor Phrygian, G minor Aeolian, all three of those modes, if you took out the sixth and the second degree, you'd be left with the minor pentatonic. So the minor pentatonic is a great safe scale to use. So even right now, if you're like, hey Tracy, I don't know my modes, that's okay. If I'm saying F Lydian, you could just play F major pentatonic. If I say G Mixolydian, you can play G major pentatonic. You're doing the scale without the modal notes. And for the major type of scales, that's Ionian, Lydian, and Mixolydian, if you remove the 4 and the 7th degree, you'd have the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and that is your major pentatonic. And then it's important to know the relative. So if I say G major penta, you would say E minor penta. Okay, if I say F major penta, you would say D minor penta, because we love thinking both major and minor pentas. So again, this is just stuff that you can write down to, keep track of that you want to be practicing and thinking about. If I said A minor, you say C major. They're the same. And we're talking about pentatonics here. So remember that important tip. Learning the modes is great, but there's always a pentatonic shell, the 5 notes of each one of those modes, okay, of the 7-note modes system. So that's important to know. Again, I have a lot of studies on Patreon that I would recommend checking out. I have a very specific study to where we're practicing pentatonic scales and then fusing that with whole tone scales so that you can play the changes. A lot of that's more in the Django Reinhardt gypsy jazz style, which I like to use kind of more pentatonic based style soloing along with whole tone harmonic minor. Thanks, Darwin, for chiming in. Joel, I hope you're having a great workout. If you guys are just tuning in, don't forget to do this. That helps me gauge which videos you're enjoying and if these live streams are worth creating. So we're talking scales. I'm talking shop talk. I'm looking at your questions, and I appreciate you saying hello. Feel free to. I'll chime in. I'm going to continue on with this lesson here. On choosing scales, but I wanted to share that important tip about the modes. The fact that their modes have 7 notes. There's 3 majors and there are 3 minor types of modes. We're not going to worry about Locrian as much, but if you took away the 4 and the 7 on the major type of modes, you'd have a pentatonic. And on the minor modes, Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian, if you took away the 2 and the 6 degree, you would have the minor pentatonic. And I often play bluesy licks too. So let's go ahead and go to my sound slice here. This is for okay, so I'm gonna load this up here. Girl for me, but I've already got this started here as I was working on it with my student the other day, but I thought I would continue this as a live stream so that I can go through the process with you. And I hope many of my Patreon members are watching this, because all the materials are on Patreon, as you probably know. Okay, here we go. This might surprise you what I'm saying here, and it's really open to debate. And you might say, no way. For the first chord, I'm choosing the Lydian mode. Okay, so the first chord is we would say the 1 chord, F major 7, so 1 in the key of F. But I'm playing and often really enjoying the sound of a Lydian mode. So the Lydian mode has the sharp 4, sharp 11, if you want to call it that. So you can look at the screen. Here's F major 7. And this is where we want to loop that F major 7 chord. And just improvise on it. I might have to take out my electric guitar at this point for the comping part. Type in the chats. I'd love to see what you guys think about this. This is, to me, level one of scales choices. Let me see if the Strat's plugged in. Oh, hey, sounds good. And let me check the chat to see who's here. Please remember to, if you're a Patreon member and you're watching this on the Patreon link on the, which it's showing right now, please click over to YouTube instead of the Patreon, so it'll show that you're viewing it on YouTube. So I know how many people are actually checking out these live streams and enjoying it, even if you're at the gym or on your lunch break at work or whatever. I appreciate you checking this out in your time. These will get archived. Sometimes they stay on YouTube. They always go to Patreon, and I also have a YouTube membership, which is I think it's a $10 YouTube membership for me if you want to have access to all of my videos. The great thing about that is that I'm constantly uploading my old videos. I've got thousands of videos. And the PDFs and tabs, however, are all on Patreon. So usually I just say join Patreon. That would be the best. So here's F major 7. Let's check it out. That's F Lydian. That's a sharp 4. I love the Lydian color. That if you played it with a chord, you could just do this simply. Just take off that F major 7, take off the 5th degree to that open B string here. Okay. So here's F major 7. Take off this finger, and now that's an F major 7 sharp 11, or Lydian chord. I call it the Lydian chord. So I'm doing this, and again, you can look at that. The sound size, I'll pop that back up in a second. Just let me check out some of the. Yeah, breathe. Okay, I'm just getting caught up with this here. Good idea, relax, breathe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you hear me? I was singing when I'm playing. I think that's important. That will really connect you to the music, and you won't get too nervous, I hope. I mean, as long as you breathe. But, just in a really simple way. Let's see, where's my. Breathe. Breathe. One string. So just, in general, if you want to connect to what you're playing, sing it. For me, I don't sing in tune, but I'm not worried about that. I just want to gesture. I just want to get the rhythm, the phrasing, the idea across, even if it's not the exact notes. And in this case, there's a secret to what I'm talking about that I'm doing, or really kind of the big picture of it all. F Lydian is the 4th mode of the key of C. Okay? 4th mode of the key of C, that's Lydian. So that's the value of learning these names, the Greek names, Lydian, Dorian, Mixolydian, Phrygian, etc., is that you relate it to the key center. So with that F major 7 chord, what we think of as a 1 chord for the girl from Ipanema, I'm treating it as if it's the 4 chord. So again, I'm just going to lay that pattern down. I'm going to add the little Lydian note in there. 1, 2, 3. I'm in key of C. That can mean E Phrygian, D Dorian, B Locrian, C. Any of those 7 modes in the key of C. That F Lydian, that sound, even though I'm saying that's the sound I'm thinking, for us guitar players, it will open up the fretboard so that you can noodle and create and be creative in the key of C. I'm going to demonstrate on one string. Thirds, maybe sixes. Think different intervals. That's really nice to think intervallically. Fourths. Oh, where's my loop? Seventh. So again, you can have a lot of fun being super creative. Where I'm not just kind of spitting out licks. It's not about licks. It's not about bebop lines or anything like that. This is just soloing for yourself, essentially. Not necessarily trying to say I got to create a perfect 32 bar solo. It's more about having fun, exploring. I see the F major 7 on the chart, but I'm playing F Lydian, which is key of C. There's some pentatonics, there's some triads. You can have a lot of fun exploring key of C. Triads. And then, of course, it's nice to be able to target and know those chord tones too when you want that. There's so many fun little games to play that you can explore. So now when you look at the next chord, I know I'm spending a lot of time, but this is really how you got to practice. Okay, this is the problem with a lot of, including myself, but I don't do it this way anymore. When you practice playing these songs, you've got to practice small chunks, one chord at a time. Because if you can't play over that F chord, how can you expect yourself to connect it and be, creative and over the next chord if you can't even play over that first chord and have the proper scale choice, at least the scale choice. In this case, I'm saying F Lydian, right? If you can't make some music that you enjoy, how are you going to expect yourself to play the changes through the rest of the song? Or, the B section's a beast. How are you expecting yourself to get through that B section if you can't navigate, it's a good word, through the A section or through the first 2 bars? Black screen. Oh, so you guys didn't see the sound slice. Let me check what's going on with that. Thanks for letting me know. I'll try that again. I've been having some issues with YouTube lately. Type in the comments if you're watching. Again, there's only a couple viewers that it's showing, so I might not go for very long if there's not a couple more viewers. For me, it's an energy thing. I can spew this stuff out all day long, but it's not as fun as just talking to myself. That's why I do like the private lessons a lot. And just to get the energy. And this lesson came about from a private lesson from the other day, but The Girl from Ipanema is a really important song to learn and master. Improvisation, I really suggest spending a lot of time on it for arpeggios, everything, chords, just so much good stuff with this song. And as Darwin said, Joe Beam tunes are challenging to improvise over. Darwin, let me know if it's not working, if you're still there. Yeah, so I'm saying a lot of stuff here. I'm saying practice your scales separately, but that's kind of boring. You got to just put on your loop pedal, put on the backing track, and then make music from it, explore. Like this is just one chord, but I could do this for hours, just explore. I love one string. Maybe some of those arpeggios. Pentatonics. intervals. And again, to me, this is key of C. That's all I was thinking about, key of C. All over the fretboard, using the 7 modes to connect them both vertically in position, horizontally, diagonally. It's just fun thinking arpeggios, triads, and some chord shapes too. You know, you can do 6s, 7s, 4s, 3rds, etc. So now here's what's going to blow your mind. Okay, you ready for this? The next chord, G7 or G13 if you want. Some people even play G7 flat 5. The melody is more on the 13. It's root in this 13. And this is another consideration, is what the melody is that I want to kind of, you know, stay true to the melody often. Not, I mean, I do like to add colors as well, but I often am kind of sticking close to the melody. That's your next phrase. So yeah, this. And then he does really have that flat 5 in the melody there. So that G7 chord, I'm calling it G13. This is measures 3 and 4 of the song now. If you treat that as if it's Lydian mode, that's still key of C. So for the first 4 bars, even though you in the sheet music will say it's key of F and you're thinking of it as a 1 chord and a 2 dominant, you can actually think of it as a 4 and the 5 chord. That's big. So this will also go back to songs like Take the A Train, exactly like you. So many songs, Joe Beam's Desafinato, Lulu Swing, if you're a gypsy jazzers, I always say. So many of these songs, Jersey Bounce, use this 1 to the 2 dominant. So I'm saying you can also think of it as a 4 to the 5, because that first chord's a major 7. So I'm calling that the 4 chord. I'm treating it as if it's 4 at least. I wouldn't call it, I would say it's a 1 chord, and this is a 2 dominant, and then you have the minor 2, and then the 5 with a tritone, and then the 1 tritone. So I'm saying for the first 4 bars, just treat it as if you're in the key of C. So basically you're on the 5, the dominant. So here I'm going to create another loop again for the first 4 measures, just the F major 7 for 2 bars, G7 for 2 bars, but I'll do G13. Give it a try. Hopefully my loop was good there. Too much coffee. Oh yeah, it's rushing there. So that's another tip. Don't drink too much coffee if you're going to do lots of looping. You might be rushing. Let's try that again. So yeah, key of C. It's really a simple method. 1, 2, 3, 4. Low backbeat. I apologize for the loop. So again, what I was just doing there, besides that little nasty blues lick there, 1 scale, C major scale, for the first 4 bars of The Girl from Ipanema. I know a lot of people probably would not say that, so let me see if I can load up this sound slice again, and please let me know if the screen turns black or whatever. I'm going to try to do that screen share once again. And I'll ask you if you can see this, so please do let me know. Can you guys see that? It should say Girl from Ipanema Scale Strategies #1. Fatigue. Lots of coffee. Good. Okay, good. Hey, thanks for saying that. Screen. Okay, great. Yeah, awesome. So, um, I annotated it underneath F Lydian, G Mixolydian. I just want you to know that's key of C. So for the first 4 bars, even though the key signature and you will think you're in the key of F, I'm treating it as if it's key of C. Okay. Now the next, we're going to get through this A section. The next 2 bars, I'm using that tritone sub as per Joe Beam, not C7, because you could say just C Mixolydian if you want. But I'm going to go G Dorian once that 2, the G7 chord, turns to minor. I'm going to kick in a Dorian. So G Dorian is the second mode of the key of F. So now I'm treating it as if it's key of F. Okay. And then G flat whole tone. What is that? Here's the full scale. I just wrote the partial scale here, but the full scale is this. It's 1, 2, 3, flat 5, sharp 5, flat 7. That's the whole tone scale if you want to talk formulas. Again, please, if you're just tuning in, make sure you grab that master scale syllabus. They have them all, and it starts right off the root of G. So you're going to learn these shapes and then work with me and apply these. Notice how I wrote it here, though. I kind of kept the line going, see, through the changes, the direction. Before, some of you on Patreon will have seen it, and these are organic. Sometimes these change a little bit, but I had started on the 6-string root, so it was like this before. And again, now we can go ahead and navigate through the fretboard. But today we're just talking the basics, how to choose your scales. So again, that whole tone scale, this is great for tritone substitution. It's just sticking right there, right off the root of it. And I got to tell you this also about whole tone. I should have included that, but it's in previous posts. If you haven't joined Patreon, please do so. Even at the free tier, if you want, there's a lot of resources that I share at the free tier, essential worksheets, like my whole tone worksheet that you can grab that from previous posts. And I didn't share that here, but I have a whole nice whole tone study, a big whole tone study rather, going all the way through the fretboard, a lot of harmonic ideas about what it's all about, just to get this color. And again, to get this flavor. And that you get these augmented. Okay. That's an augmented triad going up in whole steps. You get dominant 7 flat 5s, dominant 7 sharp 5. You can even use it on the 9 because you get the 9 in there too. Okay, beautiful colors. Joe Beam loved those colors. So did Django. I think that was probably the French influence there. Maurice Ravel and Claude Debussy, the French impressionistic composers, used that quite a bit, the whole tone scale colors. So again, I have to talk about the whole tone scale a little bit more. There's only 2. You have a 50-50 chance of getting the right one. So just learn it. Learn your fingering. And I'm demonstrating it like this. I say, and it's on that worksheet. I say start here on the root, go flat 5, flat 7, 1 string at a time, 3rd, sharp 5, and back to the root. So if you practice this little fingering trick, it's like a zigzag almost. See how that zigzags? And then these 2 strings, because the guitar is tuned in major 3rd here, you do that parallel. That's why guitar players love these licks. It's symmetrical. You just go. Here, I'll show you. I'll play the B section. I'll do that little trick here with that whole tone. Let's see. I'll check it out. B section. Right here. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get my loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. show you in a second. Yes. But each day, whole tone. Oh, but I watch yourself. Full tone scale. But I watch your son. So you can use that full tone scale on any dominant chord. It just has that beautiful flavor. It's symmetrical. That includes all these little licks here, or this, or if you want to run scales, it's all there too. So the whole tone's a beautiful scale to master for dominant chords, especially if you're playing bossa nova and or gypsy jazz style. It just adds a lot of color besides the typical bluesy kind of dominant selections. Let me see who else is tuning in on this. Yeah, if you're here watching this, please type in the chat so I can keep track of who's coming out to check out these lessons, these live streams. I like to keep them going and have some various topics from soloing to analysis to chord melody. I like to see what you guys are enjoying, of course. And a lot of these come from my Patreon lessons, and I expand it to a YouTube lesson. The other day I did a blues. Yesterday I did a walking bass session that is now has been taken off the public YouTube, but it's on the Tracy Kim membership and also, of course, on Patreon. So let's talk more scales then. Let's get back to work. Practicing. We got the F Lydian, G mixolydian, G Dorian, the whole tone scale, G flat. It's not easy stuff. And then F, and you can apply this again back to exactly like you, or take the A train. It doesn't matter. It's going to transpose it to whatever key. But these concepts are pretty cool. There's other concepts too. This is just a nice strategy. I like to say the word strategy. So here's the A section. Let's go back super slow. I'm going to grab my nylon string guitar in a second too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let me get. Let's see. Check out what's going on with my loop. Oh, I think my battery's out. What does that mean? That means I got to get my iReal Pro. So on this screen share, I grabbed a backing track online, so I can just use that just for demonstration purposes. Type in the comments if you have any questions regarding scale choices. These are not your only scale choices by any means. It's just a nice, simple strategy that sounds nice. And again, I'm just showing you my considerations. I'm thinking about the melody notes. I'm thinking about the colors that I want, okay? And then we'd be off into the B section. Chord here. F Lydian. I'm a big Lydian fan. Okay. So let me go ahead, and I think this is synced up, but let's check it out. Yeah. And I'm not saying you have to play this as the chords change. These are just your palette. So again, remember, if you're just tuning in, the scale that I'm thinking here related to each chord, this is just key of C in the big picture. This is key of F, G flat whole tone, which is also C whole tone. There's only 2 whole tone scales. 50-50 chance of getting the right one, I always say. And then back to F Lydian. If you want to get bluesy, I'm all for that too. I do that quite a bit. But again, I'm kind of sticking with one particular strategy today. Let's slow it way down. Go for it. Let's see what's going on with that. There. So I don't want to go to the B section yet. So again, I'm just kind of freely soloing using this particular strategy. Key of C for 4 bars, key of F for 1 bar, G flat whole tone, which again can also be A flat whole tone, B flat whole tone. See, they're the same 6 notes. And then back to F Lydian by choice there. Maybe I'll change that for the second strategy when I do more, again, the pentatonics and the blues. I'll say resolve it to an F blues lick. I like that a lot too. I'm not sure if you can hear the mix. I'm trying to turn it down a little bit, but if I turn down too much, then I can't hear the backing track. I can't hear it too well, so I'm sorry if I'm trying to just use my eyes and follow along with it there, feel like the click. But again, I just want to show you how you can just noodle around. Essentially, you can stay on one string, but this is written here mainly, and I'm definitely not endorsing running up and down scales for your solo. This is just your vocabulary, your alphabet, from to create the palette that you want to use. And again, I'm demonstrating it here in a linear way. Sometimes I do some, arpeggios, key of C. That's all I'm saying. You have key of C for Dorian, whole tone, whole tone. That's G7. G mix Dorian, whole tone, blues. And then you can, again, have fun with the strategy. And then we're off into the B section. Well, hey, thanks for joining me on this. I can make it, I can do it. Not on this guitar. This one has some issues. It's an old Takamine, so I don't do loops on this particular guitar. But yeah, this one is not a great one. But thanks for joining in. I'll check out, see how the response is on Patreon, and I can continue on with the B section. But I hope this opens some new ideas for you on the approach to it. The B section is quite fun and quite varied, and we can do more whole tone, but I like to do a lot of melodic minor on the B section, just to give you a hint, and a lot of Dorian. I do a lot of minor conversions. So, but this will get you started on the A section for choosing your scales. So let me know on Patreon if you're ready for more for the B section, and I'll get that posted too. And I could just do a bonus video lesson exclusive to Patreon. This one will probably be taken off also and just going straight to Patreon. So thanks for tuning in today, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Darwin, great to see you. See you next week. Ciao.